Okay, well, I think that's my cue to get started. Good afternoon, or I'm sorry, good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. We are the Pinellas Access to Higher Education Program, also known as PATH. So we're going to take some time to introduce ourselves to you. We're going to tell you a little bit about who we are and what we do, some of the topics that we'll be discussing today, and then we'll get into our workshop. So I'll start. My name is Danica Walker, and I'm a PATH counselor at the University of South Florida, St. Petersburg. You may have received an email from me either today or yesterday, so I'm happy to see you all here.
Hello, my name is Charlene Ajamang, and I too am a PATH counselor at the University of South Florida, St. Petersburg campus. And I'm excited to be here with you all and share a little bit more information.
Hi everyone, I'm Sandy DiCarlo. I am also a PATH counselor at the University of South Florida, St. Petersburg campus. Prior to being a PATH counselor, I was an advisor at St. Petersburg College. So we're happy to be here tonight and to help you and your students plan their post-graduation.
Hi everyone, my name is Charlotte Finnicle. I'm the intern here at Pinellas Access to Higher Education, and I'm a student at St. Petersburg College.
So to give you a little bit more information about PATH, I'm going to share a few slides with you all. Let's see if my screen will share. Okay, so the PATH program is a collaborative effort between the University of South Florida St. Petersburg campus and St. Petersburg College. So the goal of PATH is to increase the number of students attaining post-secondary degrees and other credentials in Pinellas County and create avenues for economic mobility for students, filling skill gaps, meeting workforce needs, and improving the overall economic health in Pinellas County. And we do this in two ways. One of those ways is higher education access. So similar to tonight, we go out into the community and we like to help everyone understand their options in terms of higher education, regardless of if it's at the University of South Florida, at SPC, or any college of your choosing. So we just want to make sure that the community is aware of all of your options and how to obtain those options. So we work with local schools, we provide resources to community organizations. We also do individual counseling with students and families to discuss what your needs are individually and how we can help you get to your goals. Additionally, we offer a 2+2 program between St. Petersburg College and the University of South Florida St. Petersburg campus. So there we help students by providing individual sessions with PATH counselors to support their needs. We also offer group workshops that promote student success, and then some of those students will have the opportunity to receive a college scholarship at the University of South Florida St. Petersburg campus for working with the PATH program. So some of the additional topics that you can discuss with us as PATH counselors are, again, your higher education options, deadlines for college admissions, the SAT and ACT testing, scholarships and financial aid, stackable credentials, and career research. So as we mentioned, there are three of us. We're excited to be here. So there's myself, Charlene, and Sandy. You can find additional information about the PATH program on our website at www.usfsp.edu/PATH. And we all hope that you follow us on Instagram at plan_your_path. And so with that being said, let me stop sharing my screen. So today we are going to be talking, did it go away? Okay. Sorry. So today we're going to be talking about your higher education options. We'll also talk about earning college credit while in high school, financial aid. There will be a 10th grade checklist, and I think I may be missing a topic, but one of my lovely colleagues will correct that for me. Did I miss anything?
I just want to add that as we're going through this presentation, we're going to ask that you keep your microphone muted. And if you have any questions, to just type them into the chat. We're going to take breaks along the way and address any questions that you've posted. And then we'll all be available at the end if you wanted to talk more with us or you have more in-depth questions.
Also, if you're here and you'll be receiving class credit, there is a survey at the end that you can complete, and we can let your teacher know that you were here today. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Charlene Ajamai.
Thank you. Okay, so I will be talking a little bit about why you should pursue some form of higher education after high school. But while I'm doing that, again, as Sandy said, if you have any questions during this portion, just go ahead and type them in the chat box, and then we're going to have a little bit more time afterwards to answer those questions. So, why pursue higher education? So there are many benefits to getting education after high school. And the ones that we're going to touch a little bit on today are going to be the economic benefits, some of the health benefits, personal development, and a few other things. So obviously, economic stability. So usually individuals with higher education or some form of education after high school are more likely to be employed than those who are not or have just graduated from high school. This is actually some statistics from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, and this is some 2019 information. This shows the unemployment rate as well as the median weekly earnings for different people, depending on their level of education. So according to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, people who have just a high school diploma generally are have a 3.7% unemployment rate compared to those who have a bachelor's degree, which is about 2.2. So there's about a 1.5% difference. Also, you can see that their median earnings are generally higher. So for somebody who's just completed high school, they may just be getting around $746 a week compared to somebody who has a bachelor's, which is about $1,200. And that can obviously make a lot of difference when you're looking at the economics of yourself and your family and how to provide. So that's just one of the benefits of getting a higher education. Another one is health. Usually people with higher education live longer or they're healthier than those who may not. Some of the reasons is because they have better health resources. So they can easily purchase healthier foods. They usually have more time to exercise or pay for health services and transportation than those who may not. Another thing is reduced stress. I mean, we all are going to be stressed regardless of what education we have, but people with more education or higher incomes are usually spared some of those stresses that come with social and economic hardship. And then another one is just you may be able to have healthier or better health behaviors. So people with more education generally have those, and they are able to understand more of the needs that are needed to be healthier, follow instructions from doctors or health professionals, advocate for themselves and their families in a medical setting or in hospitals or doctor's appointments. And then also they're just able to communicate a little bit more effectively and understanding what's going on within themselves and also their family. So this is just how it can also impact your health. Another thing is that personal development is obviously something that can happen no matter where, but it is more likely to happen more likely to happen the more education you have. So not all skills are really connected to different careers and statistics, but they can lead to a more well-rounded or fulfilling life. Usually those who have higher education have better communication skills, both verbal and written. They are able to develop or really critique their critical thinking skills, as well as really know what their personal skills are. You get a chance to establish what your strengths are and really identify them. You get a chance to realize the different passions you have, being in different areas or being exposed to different areas within higher education. And through that process, you're able to realize what you like and also what you don't like. And then you also have a better sense of discipline. Going through and obviously completing degrees or different things require a sense of discipline, and you'll really get a chance to practice it and hone in on those things. And then you get a sense of accomplishment. I will say for myself, and I'm pretty sure my colleagues can also tell you about how proud they felt when they did complete their degrees or anything in terms of classes, projects, and things like that. So that's just a few of the ways that it can add on to your personal development. But outside of that, you get a chance to make new friends. In college, you get a chance to make new friends, not only from classes, but your living spaces, extracurriculars, part-time work things like that. And what's really cool is that these friendships help you meet more people, and those people introduce you to other people, and you'll have a lot more of opportunities to really make lifelong friends. I like to share with people that I made some of the, I mean, I'm not yet older, but the friends that I have made in college are the friends that I have now. As a matter of fact, to attest to that can be Danica Walker. She was one person who I met in college, and we've been friends since, kind of colleagues. And she's honestly one of the people who, had I not gone to college, never would have had a chance to meet, along with several other friends. I'm pretty sure people can share about stories of how they met either their spouses or, you know, people who they never would have had a chance to meet outside, to really create long-lasting friendships. Another thing about getting a form of higher education is you get more social opportunities. Most institutions or places will have different types of events you can go to. They'll have like sporting events, which is another great chance to just get out and do something, clubs, extracurricular clubs, fairs, and things like that. And you can really find a lot of things to either attend or be involved in. So that's another benefit that I enjoyed. And then also you get a chance to reinvent yourself. College or getting some higher education is a form of a fresh start. You can really become the type of student you wanted to be. You can make a new reputation for yourself, and not only with, you know, teachers and classmates, but also with your family. This is a chance to show your family and those around you how you are growing, and this is a really great chance to reinvent yourself. So if in high school you maybe didn't, you know, do your best on homework assignments or, you know, showing up on time, you really get a chance to get a blank slate and show how you want to grow and who you want to be. Another great benefit, it's fun. Getting a higher education is fun. You get a chance to not only meet new people and have a lot more social opportunities, like I explained, but it's just a really fun environment. There is something for everyone out there usually, and this is a great place to find it, or a great chance to find it. So those are just some of the benefits of getting a higher education. With that being said, I'm going to also open it up to my colleagues to see if they'd like to add on any benefits that they think higher education provides.
Sure, I can share. So like Charlene mentioned, we went to college together, so there is a friendship there that I value. Another benefit that I found of going to college is that I was the first person in my family to receive my bachelor's degree. So I got to start a legacy. Once I went through the process, it became a lot easier for the family that came after me to understand what it's like to be a college student and the process that they would have to take in order to get to where they wanted to go. So I am proud to say that my sister, who is my baby, she's currently a senior in high school, and she will be starting college next year. So I will no longer be the only person in my family with a bachelor's degree.
Do we have any questions? I don't see any in the chat, but if you have any questions, you can also use during this time the reaction buttons to either raise your hand or if you'd like to share, you can also do so now. Awesome. I think I cleared that up then. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over. We could go to the next section.
Hi, I believe that's me with the different types of higher education. All right, so I'm going to start sharing my screen. Okay. Yeah, so we're going to talk about the different types of higher education. There are plenty of different types depending on how long you want to be in school, what you're looking to get out of your education, and other factors. And this will be sort of a high-level overview of all those. We'll be talking about technical colleges, state colleges, and universities. So for technical or vocational school, these programs do vary a lot. They can be anywhere from 3 months to 14 months. They include very specific studies of focuses of study, including automotive technology, cosmetology, and surgical technology. The local option here is Pinellas Technical College. And we're going to go through a couple of the different programs PTech offers, how long those programs are, and how much the average salary is. So, for example, a surgical technologist, that is a 13.5-month program, and the average salary is around $50,000 a year. Now, there are also shorter programs like the baking and pastry arts. That's a 6-month program with an average salary of $27,000. Then we have the barber program. That's a 12-month program with an average salary of $26,000. Then we have something called broadcast technician program that covers things such as like audio visual, camera work, and that has an average salary of $45,000. And then we have another health program, dental assisting, which is 13 months and it makes around $40,000. And then talking about the admission requirements and the timeline to get there, the admission requirements for technical college is just a high school diploma. New terms start every August, October, January, March/April, depending on the year, and June. You can enroll as late as a week before classes start. So if classes start September 1st, you can enroll August 23rd. However, you might want to enroll a month in advance, especially if you're waiting on something like FAFSA to come through, or if you just want the time to get the supplies you need and everything. All right, next we're going to talk about community/state college. These specifically focus on 2-year degrees, and there are 2 types of 2-year degrees, the Associate of Arts degree and the Associate of Science degree. Now, Associate of Arts, these are very general programs. It's just one general program meant to cover all the general classes needed for a bachelor's degree. So like whether you're studying math or art and you want to get a bachelor's in one of those, either way you'll need to do classes like composition, math, stuff like that. And the AA covers all the general classes you need for any bachelor's degree. And typically, they transfer super easily into university or state college bachelor's programs. For example, I got an Associate of Arts degree, and now I'm in SPC's bachelor's program. Now, the Associate of Science degree is very different. They have many different types of AS degrees with different focuses like dental hygiene, environmental science, stuff like that. It's meant to prepare you for immediate entry to the workforce, sort of like a vocational school. However, some programs do transfer to a bachelor's program. For example, dental hygiene, that's an Associate of Science degree, but it also will transfer to a Bachelor's of Science in dental hygiene. And the local option here is St. Petersburg College. So we're going to go through a couple Associate of Science programs and what they make. So of course, we talked about dental hygiene. That's an average of $76,000 a year. There's also a really cool program called the Music Industry and Recording Arts that works with like music technology, recording, producing stuff. That salary ranges anywhere from $39,000 to $60,000 depending on what you go into. And I've sat in on a couple classes, and if you're interested in music, that's a really cool thing to get involved in. Environmental science technology, it's $46,000 a year, just about. Digital media also varies to some extent because it covers many things like Photoshop, video editing, all sorts of different things, but think somewhere between $43,000 and $59,000. And then we have hospitality and tourism, a big thing in Florida, with an average salary of $47,000. Now, the admission requirements for St. Petersburg College, it's similar to Pinellas Technical College. It's just a high school diploma. New terms start in the fall, spring, and summer, and you can enroll as late as a week before classes start. And then we have university. Universities offer the 4-year programs or bachelor's degrees in a wide variety of fields. There are general studies, but typically you'll have a major or a focus on your studies. They also offer graduate programs, which are typically somewhere between 2 to 4 years after your bachelor's degree for more professional training. You can live on campus or commute if you live nearby. If you want the traditional college experience, typically that takes place at university, like what we see in the movies and stuff like that. So the local option here is University of South Florida, St. Petersburg, and we'll go through a couple of their majors. We have accounting with an average salary of $71,000. Criminology, if you were to be like a crime scene technician, that might be $59,000. Environmental science, that's $71,000. Elementary education is around $59,000. Health sciences is a big thing at USF, but this varies a lot because within that major, there are many different types of focuses. You could be working in lab tech, or you could be pre-med, and that it could be anywhere from $50,000 to $100,000. Now, the admissions criteria for these universities are going to be different from the vocational and community colleges. We have an admissions department, which will look at things like your high school GPA, your standardized test scores, so you would have to take an SAT or an ACT, your high school activities, your personal resume, and sometimes an essay. USF is not one of those colleges that requires an essay, but others might. New terms start every fall, spring, and summer, and these terms have specific application deadlines. So if you're looking to go to these colleges, it's helpful to research and know when the deadlines are for each term. And that about wraps it up for me. Do you all have any questions, any concerns? Let me stop screen sharing. Okay. Okay, let's see. Does med school work after you? So to answer your first question, do jobs like dental hygienists only require 2-year program? Yeah, so dental hygiene definitely only requires a 2-year program. It will make you more competitive as a job applicant to have the 4-year degree, but a really helpful resource is the Bureau of Labor Statistics, and I can send the link to that in the chat, and that'll cover typically what employers will expect. But so things like the dental hygiene, that is definitely a 2-year program. And let's see, how does med school work after you get your bachelor's degree? That is a different process. Typically, you would want to major in something like biology or health sciences. For example, at USF St. Pete, they have a big focus on pre-med, so within their health sciences and biology programs. So typically, you would major in something like that, and then you would get connected to sort of help transition to apply to med school. Now, as far as Bright Futures covering med school, I'm not sure about that. I don't know if one of the counselors would like to. Yeah, go ahead, Sandy.
You did a great job, Charlotte. Charlotte is our intern for this year. I'm really proud of her. She did great with the questions. As far as Bright Futures typically covers through the bachelor's degree. However, there are some students that have additional funding and may not use the whole Bright Future scholarship because it is a scholarship program. So anything that is still remaining in your Bright Futures account, once you've completed your bachelor's degree, may be used towards a graduate program. But because it is a limited program, you typically, if you have any extra funds, it will only cover probably a couple of classes. But if you have a balance, it can be used toward graduate school. And I do see a question just about a copy of the presentation. Yes, we are recording the presentation and we'll be sending a link to everyone who has attended tonight. So you can get, you can watch it again, and we will be loading several different links and things that we refer to as we talk. And any other questions for Charlotte? So there's a question here, Charlotte. Is there a good accounting program at USF? I'm not sure if you want to handle that one or we can jump in.
Yeah, so as far as I know, the accounting program at USF is really good. They have a specific college for business. It has its own building. They also have a lot of connections to local businesses like Raymond James and other big employers. Like, for example, I know that their accounting program had a spring break internship where you would go and work for Raymond James for the entire week, and it would give you great professional access. So it's not just about the academics, which are great. It's also about the connections they have. So I would definitely recommend that. And yeah, that pretty much wraps it up for my presentation. I don't know if you guys want to go next, but yeah, let me know if you have any other questions.
I was on mute. Okay, I am going to talk a little bit about the money side of college. So let me share my presentation. Okay, and we're going to talk a little bit about money. I know money is a major concern for a lot of parents and students who are considering going to college. So we are going to cover several different areas of paying for college. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the cost of attendance. the free application for federal student aid, or FAFSA. Again, if we can ask the audience to just turn off their cameras and mute while we're presenting, and then we can address everything later. And I'm going to talk about scholarship opportunities. I know that most of you are either sophomores in high school or parents and family members or friends of sophomores, and you'd be surprised. It is never too early to start saving and planning for your college education. So first of all, we're going to talk about the cost of attendance, and many times it's referred to as the COA, or if you do apply for any kind of financial aid, they may use that acronym to cover it. There's a lot of myths out there that the cost of attendance is strictly tuition and fees. So I've worked with a lot of parents that may have had a Florida prepaid account, or maybe just Bright Futures, or one area of scholarship. And the fact is, there's a lot involved in the cost of attendance beyond just tuition and fees. Tuition will change from a private school to a public school. Typically, a public school is also funded by the state or the government, so it's a little bit less expensive, sometimes a lot less expensive than a private institution. And then fees cover things outside of class, such as athletics and all kinds of extracurriculars. Those student fees go into all of the additional benefits of being a student. Room and board is just that, room and board. If you're looking at housing, meal plans, all of that is part of the room and board costs. Books and supplies. Universities and colleges are really trying to be intentional by saving students money as much as possible, but the cost of college books is very expensive. We're trying to use more electronic versions as you go along, but most of those will also include some sort of entry code or something where there's a cost. So that's something you want to look at as well. If your student needs a computer, perhaps they need an upgraded computer if they're looking at gaming or graphic design or something like that. Transportation, whether your student is just requiring transportation to get downtown and back, or to maybe one of the SPC campuses, or maybe your student is looking at going across the country or someplace far from home, that cost of transportation is definitely going to be a factor. And then if your student wants to take advantage of any additional benefits, such as study abroad or participating maybe in dance or theater or art, there may be additional expenses there as well. I want to talk about the free application for federal student aid, or FAFSA, as it's normally called. The application for the FAFSA opens up October 1st. And your student will want to fill out this application after October 1st of their senior year. The reason we really wanted to stress this tonight, even though you're talking about high school sophomores, is it's really important to understand what FAFSA does and the importance of it. Again, there are a lot of myths that if you've got a 2-income household and you're earning too much money, that it's not important and you don't want to apply, but I want to show you that there's a lot more to the FAFSA. What is needed when your student and yourself will be filling out the FAFSA is you need a federal student aid application, a federal student aid ID for both the parent and the student, because you'll be signing this application with that ID. You'll need social security numbers if you have them, and then you'll need your prior tax returns, which means tax returns from 2 years prior to when your student is looking to start school. If you have any other children, or if you have siblings that were in college, say over the last 7 years or so, it used to be that you would need just the year prior taxes, but this has changed so that people that may have delays in filing their taxes are not penalized as far as the financial aid status. Now, when you apply for the FAFSA, it will see if you qualify for different kinds of aid. And the two major types of aid are gift aid, which is financial aid that you do not need to pay back, or self-help aid, which is aid that you're actually going to earn. So gift aid, anything that has grant or scholarship attached to it, is basically gift aid. Now, it may have some guidelines in order for you to keep that aid or possibly have reoccurring payments. So it's very, very important to always read the fine print when you're awarded any sort of financial aid. If your student needs to get a certain GPA or maybe be enrolled in a certain number of credits. So it's really important to read all the fine print, but know that if it's a grant or a scholarship, that money does not need to be paid back. Now, the FAFSA also may offer your students student loans or work study. Now, when they offer this funding, they will be looking at that total cost of attendance. So often, if your student is living at home and possibly doesn't need any additional computers or transportation, the amount that they're offered may be higher than what they need. So know that these numbers can be adjusted. Work study is always a great idea. If your student is looking to get part-time work, work study opportunities typically happen on campus, and the supervisors are very cognizant of your student's schedule. So there's a variety of work study positions at universities, colleges, and technical schools. And so if your student is planning to work while they're going to school, I highly suggest that they look into work study opportunities there. Once you fill out your FAFSA application, you will get a report that's basically gives you your EFC, which stands for the expected family contribution. They're going to assess the average cost of going to school and then the amount that is expected for the family to produce. And then the difference is usually offered through various types of financial aid. A great resource to use when you're looking at all of the things I just mentioned, as well as scholarships and Bright Futures, is the Pinellas County School website. I've got it up there. It's basically pcsb.org/financial aid. And on this site, you're going to find information about scholarship opportunities, the Bright Futures Scholarship Program, the Pinellas Education Foundation scholarships, and direct links that will take you to the FAFSA website. Now, as far as scholarships, I just took a little snippet of the current scholarship list that is on the Pinellas County School website. And so as you can see, these first 3 scholarships, if you look under the grade level, this American College Foundation Visionary Scholarship, anyone from 9th to 12th grade can apply. So your students right now can apply for that scholarship. The second one, the Bailey Foundation, is for 12th grade and higher. So if your student is already going to college, they can still use this website to find some great scholarships. And then here's a Black History Month student essay. Students as young as 4th grade can apply for that. So again, I highly recommend utilizing the Pinellas County School website for these scholarship lists. I mentioned the Pinellas Education Foundation. They collect groups of scholarships throughout Pinellas County, and students only need to do 1 application, and this is at the beginning of their senior year, and any criteria that fits a certain scholarship, it will be fed into. So it's a great opportunity, 1 application, over 250 scholarships available, and it is only exclusively for Pinellas County high school students. So again, anytime that you enter a pool that's limited to a certain population, you have a better chance of receiving the scholarship. College Board, which is the organization behind the SATs and AP classes, has a great scholarship opportunity. Well, it's called Opportunity Scholarships. And basically, it's a collection of scholarships. And every time your student does a task that helps them figure out their college decision, it's going to put them into a pool towards another scholarship. So the College Board Opportunity Scholarships can be done the beginning of their junior year. So it's something you just want to be aware of now. So when your student goes to school next year, they can start this step-by-step process based on searching for colleges, getting that initial college list, preparing for SATs, and so on. And every time they complete one of those steps, they'll enter in for a scholarship. And if they do all 7 steps, then they can enter into a grand prize scholarship of $40,000. So this is a great scholarship. Raise.me is a very personalized scholarship opportunity where students can actually enter in all their extracurriculars, anything they've been involved in, certain classes that they've taken, and it will actually personalize scholarship opportunities based on what your student has done. So this is something that they can start also. You just go on the website and pull up the schools involved, and it'll walk you through the process to really kind of sculpt your own scholarship together. Now, the Florida financial aid application is a requirement for Bright Futures, and a lot of people connect it only with Bright Futures, but know that there are actually 13 scholarships that are tied to this Florida financial aid application. So again, we're going to share the link with you, but this is something that you want to go on, and not only can you apply for the different scholarships, but you can download all of the criteria for the Bright Futures scholarship, including the number of service hours, the different types of scholarships available, and the GPA and SAT or ACT scores required for each. Again, I'm just going to mention the Bright Futures. A lot of people ask us about Bright Futures. There are 4 different scholarships. Each one does require some community service, but there are different amounts for each scholarship. You're going to have the test score requirements and GPA requirements as well. So again, that Florida financial aid site will go into all the details. Brooke Pear, we always want to give a shout out for Brooke Pear. She is the financial aid expert at Pinellas County Schools. You'll find that she does financial aid seminars throughout your student's junior and senior year. I highly recommend that you attend them, or you can always reach out to her personally. She has a nice little recorded financial aid seminar that's on the Pinellas County Schools website as well. Okay, I saw a few questions pop up.
Yes, Sandy, I'll read some questions off to you if you want to answer them for us.
Sure.
So the first question is, do you need to pay back work study, and what are they exactly?
Okay, work study is actually federal aid sponsored jobs, which means the actual paycheck will come from the funding source of the federal government. You do not have to pay it back. It's just like having a part-time job, only the funding is coming from the federal government. So the school is the one who's going to take record of all the hours worked and be accountable. Some of the benefits of work study are, 1, there's no commute. If you're already on campus, typically you're just going to go to the office or the department that you're employed in for your work study. 2, typically they do not work during midterms and final exams, and the school always has your top priority on your academics. We had several work study students that worked in my department at one time, and if it was slow, if it was quiet, we always encouraged them to study during those times. So the academics are always a priority when you're a work study student.
Thank you. The next question is, do you need to complete FAFSA to qualify for Bright Futures?
Yes, you have to, you have to complete your FAFSA application. You do not need to qualify. That's another thing that is very important with the FAFSA. Even if you do not qualify for federal aid, there are lots of other opportunities that require that you've just completed the application. There are certain grants available that are only available if you do not meet the criteria for certain financial aid. So yes, you need to complete it. No, you do not need to qualify for the federal aid.
Also, I want to add, you do also need to complete the Florida financial aid application, so the FFAA, to get Florida Bright Futures. The
Right.
next question that we have is, are there any national scholarship foundations that you would recommend?
Oh my gosh, national scholarship. You know, there are so many. I would definitely look at that website on the Pinellas County Schools. Scholarships, there are merit scholarships out there, which are usually based on your child's GPA. There are income-based scholarships, which are usually based on your household size, household income, and how many family members may be currently attending college. And then there are scholarships based on all kinds of individual criteria. My train of thought is once your child, I would start looking at scholarships now, because a lot of people just aren't aware that you can start to get scholarships prior to your senior year, and almost make it kind of a part-time job. Once a month, devote some time to do scholarship searches.
Okay, the next question that we have is, give me 1 second. What is an example of a criteria that you have to meet for a certain amount of money for financial aid?
The FAFSA, actually, it's a whole formula. They are going to ask for the household income, meaning everyone who's contributing income to the family. Know that if your child is under the age of 24, they will be considered dependent on that household income, whether or not they live with you, regardless. If there may be special circumstances such as marriage, military service, or if they're a parent, that might make them independent under the age of 24. But typically they will be claimed as your dependent, so that household income includes everyone in that house. Then they're going to look at the size of the household. They will be looking at how many people are currently attending higher education, and that includes mom, dad, brothers, sisters, anyone in the household. So it is not as black and white as if you earn this much money, you'll get this much aid. It's a whole formula. So you really want to apply to just see what you may qualify for. I hope that answered your question.
Those are all the questions that we have.
Okay, great. Next we'll go into, it's all you, Danica.
Okay, I'm going to share my screen and then I'll get started. Oh wait, let's see if there's one more question. Oh, yep, you answered the question.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so I will be talking with you all today about earning college credit while you're in high school. See, something just went wrong for me. Give me a second. I despise technical difficulties, but that's okay. Okay, I think I may have it now. Okay, so like I said, today I'll be talking with you all about earning college credit while in high school. And so we'll go over the different types of ways that you can earn credit, as well as some of the benefits and things that you should consider. So first, earning college credit while you're in high school can put you on the path towards success. This is because earning college credit can be very beneficial. So first, as we all know, it saves money. College can be very expensive, like Sandy mentioned, but taking these classes while you're in high school will help to alleviate some of those costs, specifically because the programs that are available in Pinellas County are free to students. Second, The way that college courses operate tend to be different than the formatting of a high school class. So by taking college classes specifically while you're in high school, it will help to make that transition a little bit more smoother once you officially begin to be a college student. And the third reason why it puts you on a path towards success is because taking rigorous courses can benefit you in terms of applying for college. So colleges like to see that students have challenged themselves, and taking these classes let them know that you are being challenged and you're doing the best that you can. So as long as you're taking these classes and you're doing well in them, it will help you to increase your chances of showing a college that, hey, you're a great fit for them. So there are 4 different types of college credits that can be earned while you're in high school, specifically in Pinellas County. These options are dual enrollment, early college, early admissions, and advanced placement. So we'll get into each one, what they are, and the requirements that you'll need in order to get into that specific program. So the first type is dual enrollment. Dual enrollment is available to Pinellas County students through St. Petersburg College, the University of South Florida, and the University of Florida. So what dual enrollment is exactly is a part-time program where students can take college classes at a local college or at their high school. These classes will apply towards their high school graduation requirements and towards a college degree. So one of the cool things about dual enrollment, especially if you're planning to stay in the state of Florida for college, is that these classes will seamlessly transfer into other state colleges or state universities that you may be considering attending. And so each program will have their own requirements. For today's focus, we'll talk about the requirements to get into the dual enrollment program at SPC. And one of the things that you should know is that to be eligible to take these courses, your student or you will have to have a minimum of 7 high school credits in 4 core areas, which are math, science, language arts, and social studies. And I highly recommend, no matter what you plan to do, that you have a conversation with your guidance counselors, just to let them know that you are interested and they can help you through the process of getting into dual enrollment or any of the other options that we talk about today. So again, specifically for dual enrollment at SPC, you'll need to, in order to take an academic dual enrollment course, you will have to have an unweighted cumulative GPA of a 3.0. In order to take the career dual enrollment course, you would need to have an unweighted cumulative GPA of a 2.0, and then there has to be a successful or satisfactory score on the PERT, SAT, or ACT prior to obtaining permission to take these courses. So again, it's important that you speak with your guidance counselor, and once you know that this is what you'll be doing, you will also need to make sure that you have an SPC ID. You can get one of those by completing an SPC application for high school student programs. And if you would like more information about dual enrollment specifically, if you follow the QR code, it will take you to specific information around how you can get into dual enrollment. Dual enrollment is also available not only to public school students, but private school students as well. And if you're interested in dual enrollment at USF or at the University of Florida, your guidance counselor can help you with that as well. So the next type is early college. Early college at SPC allows students to spend their junior and senior year at SPC and take classes on the SPC campus. So that way they will be simultaneously earning their high school diploma as well as completing an Associate of Arts degree from SPC. And students who take these classes will follow the SPC academic calendar. Currently, admissions for the early college program is limited to 125 students, each at the Clearwater, Seminole, and Tarpon Springs campuses of SPC. So if you're interested in early college, some of the initial criteria that need to be met are that you need to have an unweighted cumulative GPA of a 3.0 or higher. You need to have satisfactory scores on PERT, SAT, or ACT, complete high school physical education, geometry, and world history requirements. You also, if you're a private school student or a homeschool student, you would have to enroll in public high school for at least 1 semester prior to participating in early college. In addition to all of these requirements, students who are interested will need to complete the high school student programs application through SBC, as well as an early college application online. Also, it's important to note that early college at SBC is still currently accepting late applications for the 2021-2022 waitlist. So if you are interested, there is some time to still apply. And again, if you would like additional information, if you follow the QR code, it will take you to more information about early college at SBC. So the third type is early admissions. Early admissions is a full-time program that gives students the chance to spend their senior year at SBC campuses completing classes, and that way they are graduating with their high school requirements complete, as well as earning credits towards a college degree. So for this program, the admission is limited to 40 seats, each at Clearwater, Seminole, St. Pete Gibbs, and Tarpon Spring campuses. And so to meet the requirements for early admissions, you have to have been enrolled in for Pinellas County High Schools for at least one semester prior to early admissions. I'm getting my words jumbled up. You need to have completed 3 years of high school with a minimum of 18 credits earned. You need to meet the qualifying high school GPA, which is unweighted cumulative GPA of a 3.0 or higher. Meet satisfactory scores on PERT, ACT, or SAT. Students interested in early admissions will also need to complete physical education, biology, geometry, and world history graduation requirements. And then they need to meet all of the standardized state assessment graduation requirements. So students who are interested and are able to meet the requirements will also need to fill out an early admissions application for SPC as well. And then the next type is advanced placement. Advanced placement courses are rigorous college level courses that are offered at high schools throughout Pinellas County, and they are through the College Board's Advanced Placement Program. So what this means is that students who are in AP courses will have the opportunity to take the AP test at no charge to students. And then colleges and universities will award college credit for these courses based on the exam scores of 3, 4s, or 5 on a scale of 1 to 5. Each college or university will have their own system of how they provide credit, but it's usually based on how many points you got in the AP exam. So if you're interested in advanced placement, the best way to get into courses is to talk with your guidance counselor. Like I said, they're offered at every high school in Pinellas County. Specifically with advanced placement and dual enrollment, a question that often comes up is which class is better to take. Is it better to take AP classes, or is it better to take dual enrollment? It honestly depends on what you plan to do in the future. So if you want to stay in the state of Florida, dual enrollment is a great option because how the state of Florida and the university and college systems are set up, all of your credits will seamlessly transfer into those universities. There may be more steps that are required if you're leaving the state of Florida. However, because advanced placement is a program that's offered through the nation, it can be easier to have those course credits administered or put into your college transcript if you're going out of the state of Florida. And if you don't know what you're going to do, it's a great opportunity to take both classes. So you can have some AP classes as well as some dual enrollment classes. And then next, what I would like to talk about are some things to consider. So while these are great opportunities, it's important to understand the impact that taking college credits while you're in high school can have on your current experiences as well as your future. So one, understand that these classes will have an impact on your high school GPA. As we mentioned, or as I mentioned earlier, these classes will be used for not only your college credit in in college, but they'll also be used to complete your high school requirements for graduation. So if you don't do well in these classes, it will be reflected not only in college transcript, again, sorry, struggling with my tongue, but also with your high school GPA and your high school transcript. So if you are not able to meet that requirement, you may have to take that class again. The second thing is this can have an impact on your college GPA. And what that means is once you start taking college level classes, you officially have a permanent college GPA. That can have a negative impact once you're starting to apply to college, because they will not only look at your high school transcripts, but they will also look at your college transcripts. And the last thing, but equally as important, is satisfactory academic progress. So if you are not going to do well on multiple classes, this could potentially have an impact on your future financial aid. So while that can sound daunting, the goal is not to scare you from taking college credits. The goal is to make sure that you fully understand what goes into making these decisions. So it's perfectly fine if you plan to take 1 or 2 classes to get your feet wet and see how you're doing. But if you recognize that this may not be the time or the space for you to do well in these classes, we would recommend that you maybe reconsider and make sure that you're going to be successful. So like I said, we just want to make sure that you have all of the information available to you so that you can make the best decisions possible. And with that being said, that is the end of the presentation from me.
Well, you've got some questions, Danica.
Oh, I see.
So
I don't know where to start.
I'll read them to you. So the first one is dual enrollment and early college entirely separate things?
So from my understanding, they're not necessarily entirely separate. It's just the process of getting them works differently. So what I mean by that is dual enrollment can be taken in small spurts. You can decide to take 1 dual enrollment class. You could decide to take 2 dual enrollment classes, but there isn't necessarily a requirement that you have to fulfill. However, once you go into early college, the goal of early college is that you complete an associate's degree while you're still in high school. So that's the biggest difference.
Yeah, I just want to add that early college is a full-time, you're taking every single one of your classes on the college campus. And sometimes when they refer to dual enrollment, it may just be 1 or 2 classes. It's up to you. Next question is, are dual enrollment classes only offered on high school campuses or online?
I think at the moment they may be offered specifically at high school and online, because every school is dealing with COVID-19 differently. But in a traditional setting, dual enrollment classes are also offered at the local school. So SBC would have dual enrollment classes available on campus.
Okay, we also have a question. What if my school does not offer many AP classes?
So if your school does not offer many AP classes, that may be a good opportunity for you to consider taking dual enrollment classes.
Okay, and I don't know how familiar you are with ACE, but it says, do ACE classes count towards college, or do they only count towards your ACE diploma?
From my understanding, ACE classes do count towards college. I had considered mentioning ACE. The reason why I did not is because ACE is not available at every high school, and I know that there may be additional admissions requirement to get into ACE programs. But the Cambridge, don't remember all the letters, but yes, those also go towards college credit, as well as the International Baccalaureate program.
Great. And the last question, I think you already answered on this one. Which option is better to take as an alternative if you do not have AP classes offered to you? So I think you already said another option would be looking into dual enrollment.
Yes.
Okay. Next question. How are magnet program credits, such as credits from Cambridge or IB, accepted by universities? This person has heard that some colleges can deny certain credits or not accept these credits at all. Is that true? How do universities in Florida accept credits from magnet programs?
I'm actually going to turn this one over to Charlene, because I think she knows a little bit more about IB programs than I do.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, so with IB programs, I have a little bit of experience with IB curriculum and Cambridge programs, as I used to do admissions for international students with a university in Ohio. So with those, the question is, some schools may or may not accept them as college credits. So it depends on the majors and programs they're going into, as well as their conversions. So for example, the previous institution that I worked for required students to have either 5 or 6 on certain IB program scores, or have different requirements per program, and they may have offered either credit or they would have used it just for admission purposes. So it really does depend on the college or university that is applying to. So there's not one criteria for all universities in terms of accepting them as college credit. I hope that answers your question. Did that for some?
I think it may have, if not,
And
oh,
then
it
also
does.
it would work the same with universities in Florida. Some institutions may or may not, but I'll share a little bit more on tips on how to check for information for the different universities and colleges, not only in Florida, but elsewhere.
Okay, we have another question. When can a student start early college? And I heard something about a wait list. Was there a deadline for sophomores to get involved?
That's a good question. So a student can start early college in their junior year, meaning that they would need to apply during their sophomore year. For the upcoming school year, there was an initial deadline of February 10th for current sophomores to apply. However, SVC has opened up a late application, and from what I can tell, they have not announced what the deadline for that late application will be. So, and also it's important to note that this late application is for the wait list. So there is not a guarantee that you can be accepted into the early college program, but it never hurts to try.
Okay, next question. How should students go about selecting AP classes?
I think the best way to go about it is to work with your guidance counselor, mostly because they have an understanding of what your previous experience in high school is, as well as the AP courses that are available to you, because every school will have a different list of courses that are available, and some may work better for you than others. So there's not a generic answer that I could give for that one.
Would you know how students plan to be an AP Scholar student?
I do not. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I believe it's a designation given to students that had exceptional scores on their AP exams, but I would suggest you talk with your high school guidance counselor specifically about that.
Yes, and I want to say that you have to have a certain test score for all of the exams. I want to say it's at least a 3 or 4 or higher in order to be considered an AP Scholar. So it's looking at all of your AP courses, all of your exams, and how high of a score you got on those exams.
Okay, we're going to keep you busy for a while. Okay,
that's what we're here for.
All right, Ms. Holmes has asked, are there any programs or websites that offer career aptitude tests for those that are not sure of their major?
That's a great question. There are a load of websites that are available if you are interested in career aptitude tests. One that I often give out to people is ONET, which I will share in the chat. ONET has My Next Move. What I appreciate about ONET is once you've put in all of your information, at the end of it, it'll ask you, what level of education are you interested in? And once you answer that question, it will provide you with careers based on the level of education that you want to receive. So you can click through and see at each level of education which career fields may be best for you. And it also lets you know if there's like a potential of growth in that field, or if the field is like a green field, meaning that it's like sustainable energy and those types of things. Also, I want to say that Naviance has something as well in it for career aptitude. Naviance is a platform or a software that Pinellas County Schools will be using. I'm not sure how far they've gotten with the rollout of that.
Okay, what is the difference between honors classes versus AP classes in high school?
The biggest difference is the ability to receive college credit. So honors classes is a rigorous course, and honors classes, there's a great potential in taking them, but honors classes don't equate to any type of college credit. However, with AP classes, if you get a score that will allow for it, you can get credit in your college experience for that. That's the biggest difference.
Okay, and Sarah asked again, so maybe we didn't answer all this. How should students go about selecting AP classes as it pertains to applying to college? So I'm going to assume she's asking like which ones are going to be more beneficial when it comes to college.
I can try to share a little bit of information. So when selecting AP courses, depending on the college that you're looking at and the different majors, there are certain classes that all applicants would have to complete. So things that are like math, so calculus, other things, not only like English, calculus, science courses, so biology. If they have any ones that are really geared towards STEM fields, so if you think they have AP engineer, like not engineer, yeah, computer science, mathematics, which mean calculus, statistics, and the different maths you can go into. Also, they have several, if you're looking more towards a liberal arts degree, so if you have English, specific like literature, depending on the major or academic program or area that you want to focus in college or higher education, those would be the ones that you should really focus on selecting and applying to different colleges. But if you are kind of just wanting to have a good set, something in relation to math, English, and a science.
Thank you, Charlene.
Okay. Can students start dual enrollment in their junior year? And is there a wait list for this as well?
Students can start dual enrollment in their junior year. Dual enrollment is available to students from 6th through 12th grade. Also, there is no wait list for dual enrollment. You just have to follow the required steps, which is complete PERT or have a satisfactory score on the SAT or ACT, meet the unweighted cumulative GPA requirements that they're looking for. So I would imagine that if you start talking with your guidance counselor, they can help you go through that process of getting enrolled into dual enrollment for junior year.
Okay, which leads right into our next question. You almost answered it. It says after we've taken the PERT and enrolled with SPC. So this person has taken the PERT test and completed the application to SPC. How do we move forward with the dual enrollment process, probably like course selection?
So if I'm not mistaken, if you have not already done so, again, you would need to go to your guidance counselor because I'm pretty sure they need to give you permission to go into dual enrollment classes. Once they've given you permission, then they will tell you about how to go about selecting the dual enrollment classes that you'll take for the next semester.
That's correct. I just want to add too, because schools differ as far as how much guidance that they will or can assist as far as choosing the classes. Your high school guidance counselor will definitely make sure you meet all the requirements and you have permission. But if you wanted more information beyond that, say you know they're going to be a biology major and you're looking for those specific courses, you can always see an advisor at St. Petersburg College and they can help you as well. Next question.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I quickly shared just the checklist for the actual dual enrollment process at SPC. It includes on there the application as well as what you would need to do in a checklist format. So that might be a great resource for you as well.
Okay, and the next question is probably on that checklist, but the question is when and where is the PERT test offered?
PERT is offered, if I'm not mistaken, at SPC for students to take if they're interested in doing dual enrollment. It is offered, I want to say you should take it ideally this semester before you plan to go into dual enrollment. I know they have like a pre-PERT registration, but I'm not sure about the specific dates that are available.
Great.
And Charlene has added the pre-registration link.
There you go. And there's practice testing on that as well. Great question. Another great question. Do all schools offer the same dual enrollment classes?
I don't think they do. And I say that because I know specifically one of the high schools here offers a pre-education dual enrollment class that I don't think is offered everywhere else. So I know that SPC has a list in terms of the classes that are available on their campuses, but in terms of the classes that are available at the high school, it may differ from school to school.
All right, more questions pouring in, Danica. All right, okay. So Kathy asks, so we would apply for early college, and if we get in, we take both the college classes as well as high school classes. Where would we apply for early college?
So if you apply to early college and you get in, you would only be taking college classes. But those college classes would be used to also complete your high school graduation requirements. So that college level class will be a double dip. So it'd be working towards your college degree, but it will also still fulfill your high school graduation requirements. And for the early college application, I'm also going to put that, well, I'll put the whole link in the chat. So if you go to this website, it'll tell you the checklist, it'll tell you everything that you need to do, and it provides the link to the late application for 2021-2022.
Great questions, lots of great questions. Okay, this is a really good question. If you pass the PERT exam 1 year, do you have to retake it the next year if you want to continue dual enrollment courses in your next year? For example, if you pass PERT and take dual enrollment classes in your junior year, do you have to go through the same process in your senior year if you want to continue dual enrollment classes?
If I'm not mistaken, once you meet the requirement for PERT, you don't have to retake it.
That's correct. Your PERT score is good for 2 years. But once you've taken a class that solidifies that score, for example, if you take the PERT test and it allows you into college level writing, once you've passed that test, you never have, once you pass the class, you never have to test again. The same with math. If I took the PERT test today and scored into college level math and never took a math class, that score is only good for 2 years. But if I went in and completed successfully the math class, I never have to retest again. Okay, so someone has shared the answer. To answer the question about the PERT, it's available to be taken remotely and you can take it anytime. At least this was their experience. Thank you for sharing that. With the pandemic, we're never really sure what is staying the same. Great, I think you've gotten all the questions answered, Danica. Thank you.
No problem.
All right, Charlene.
That was a lot of information. But to share a little bit more, I'll be talking a little bit about just a checklist of things to start doing if you haven't and do throughout your sophomore year. So, all right, so your sophomore checklist. There are several things that are here we'll talk about to really complete throughout your 10th grade year, including everything from meeting with your counselor to taking some tests or preparing to take tests and exploring colleges, but we'll go a little bit more into that. One of the first things you should do if you have not already is meet with your guidance counselor. Really getting a chance to know who your guidance counselor is early makes it really easy to talk about high school or college plans or plans after high school. They're also able to share resources with you a little bit easier because they know who you are. So let's say, for example, they know that you are interested in taking some form of dual enrollment or dual or getting some college credit while in high school. When they learn about it, they'll be thinking of you and share that information with you. So get a chance to really know your guidance counselor if you have not already. Another thing to do during your sophomore year is explore and commit to different extracurricular activities. So this year is a really great time, if you have not already, to start looking at extracurricular activities offered through your school and also outside of your school. See which ones you're interested in, see what you like, see what you don't like. And then once you have decided, like, this is what you want to get into, really get involved, take a leadership role. I know that a lot of colleges and universities look not only at what you do, but what you do within the different groups that you're involved in. So really have depth more than just a large quantity of, things that you're doing. You've already taken the PSAT, but if you haven't, take it. And it is really great to have taken this because it does qualify you or gives you access to be qualified for the National Merit Scholarship Program. And also the PSAT can be a tool used to help identify areas on tests or areas that you should study for when you prepare for other tests, as we'll discuss later on. This is a great time to also start learning about colleges. You can use different college websites to get a sense of what you're really trying to do in college and the type of places that you may want to attend. Another resource that I'll share a little bit more in depth later is the Florida Shines website. And it's a place where you can go and learn about all of the institutions that are in Florida, as well as more detailed information on how to prepare for admission into them and a lot of the questions that might pop up through this process. Florida Shines is a great tool to use. So if you don't remember anything else, PATH and then Florida Shines. So preparing for the SAT or ACT, even though a lot of students might take it their senior year or their junior year, now is a great time to start preparing for it. It's a good idea to take the actual SAT or ACT all the way through, do the entire test, because the results can, again, help you decide which test you really want to take or use for admission. Sometimes students might do better on the SAT than they do the ACT or vice versa, just because the formatting is a little bit different. Also, take it a few different times because as you probably get into college, they'll may be able to select from your best scores. So start getting prepared to take that or take it, and then create a resume. You may not have a job, and that's okay. But this is a great chance to start assembling your resume. Learning how to format it and show your skills is a great opportunity, is a great thing you'll need not only when applying to colleges, but to jobs and other scholarships and things like that. But you can also use this now as a preparation tool for when you do apply to those colleges. Start putting your courses on there. So if you are taking an AP course, you can list all the different courses that you're taking, those extracurricular activities or clubs and things that you do outside of class. Putting it all on a resume is a great way to really start preparing yourself to showcase your skills and assets, not only to colleges and universities, but to scholarships and grants and things like that. And then start searching for scholarship and grant opportunities. Sandy shared a lot of information about financial aid, but this is a time to start applying or start searching for those scholarships and grant opportunities. Keep track of upcoming deadlines if you're too early for them, and then also when they open. So we already know financial aid or the FAFSA opens in October. So getting prepared and knowing when things are opening up and closing will help you better plan to apply, because sometimes applying for scholarships and grants can be a whole full-time job. But remember, you can reuse a lot of material when time comes. So this is a great time also to start asking people you know for recommendation letters, different things that you're going to have to submit either to a college or university, or these scholarship and grant opportunities. I know that a tool that, a tip that some people use is to start keeping track of these grants, scholarships, and also different applications in an Excel. So that way you can keep track of what you've already applied to, what status it is in. So like, do they need a piece of information from you, or are you waiting for some form of communication from them? And it's just a great way to see in front of you what you're doing already and what you may still need to do. So Excel or Google Drive document is a great way to keep track of that. But all of this is to say that this is a lot of things. If you haven't done everything, or if you haven't done some of these things, it's not too late. It's not too late to start doing them now. 10th grade is a great year to really set yourself up to be successful in not only applying to different colleges and universities, but also making sure you're prepared and less stressed when that time does come. So Florida Shines, like I said, is a statewide hub for, a lot of educational services. It gives a lot of free tools to help students in school prepare for college. And I'm just going to show or share with you real quickly what that looks like. Can you still see my screen as it shows the website?
Yes.
Awesome. So Florida Shines, so floridashines.org. It's great tool and resource. This is a place you can go to start learning about all of the different institutions that they have here in Florida. You can go here and just like, okay, I don't know what kind of school I want to go to. You can find them here. Like Charlotte also talked about those different types and differences in higher education options. You can see here how many there are in Florida, what they would need, kind of go through, put different criteria in that you want, and it'll pull up that information for you, as well as showing you the websites, as well as more information that you might want to know, like who is attending, what does the student body look like. A lot of information or questions that you might have about a specific school can be found here. And it is a great resource to just start exploring colleges. And then it also is a great way to learn about different scholarship, grant opportunities, and financial aid. So taking a breath, paying for college. Sandy shared a lot of resources, and a lot of those links can also be found on these websites here: FAFSA, in-state tuition, Bright Futures. Again, this is just like a great hub for a lot of resources that you'll need as you start preparing for college or preparing for what you're going to do after high school. They talk about 2+2 programs. Literally, a lot of the things that we are here for through PATH to help you do can also be found on Florida Shines. So not to say like just go to Florida Shines. Again, utilize us because we're here to do that with you. But this is a great place to just start some of these searches. And then also career tools and things. So if you want to find out more about those different careers, again, Danica shared some great resources, but you can also use this website as a great way to find more about different careers and making a plan to see what might fit for you. This is, again, great resource, great tool, and I hope that it's useful for you as you might continue through your sophomore sophomore high school year and continue on into a college or university. So let me go back to here. So just to recap, if you have not already, meet with your high school guidance counselor. Get to know them. They are your friend. They have a lot of information, and they'll be able to also direct you into a lot of different things that you may not even know about or opportunities you're not aware about in your school and out. Also, get involved. Do things outside of your classes. Get in extracurricular groups or volunteer. Get a part-time job if available, and really be a leader and show your leadership skills. Take the PSAT, which you guys already did, or most likely have done, and use that as a tool. Begin exploring colleges, not only through their websites, Florida Shines, but also just talking with different people about their own experiences or where they may have gone. I like going when I'm driving, seeing some of the different, what are they? The license plates and the decals and stickers on cars to see where people might have gone and imagine what that was like. Prepare for the SAT and ACT. Take it a few times through. This is a great time. It's not going to, you'll have more opportunities to take it throughout high school, but this is a great time now to really see where you need to put your focus on and making sure you do your best. And then make a resume, whether it's your courses and classes that you're taking or those extracurricular activities. Get to it, start putting that out there and format it in a way that will really represent who you are in your best life. And then start searching and applying for scholarships, grants, financial aid opportunities. But the most important thing, if you have not done it already, to start doing is talk. If you haven't yet, start having discussions with your parents, with your children, with your cousin, grandma, aunt, friend, neighbor, because these conversations can really help make the decision-making process when the time arrives less stressful. Talk about different things like location, where do you want to go to school, the types of colleges, costs. So that way you have an understanding of the expectations of each other. I know that we sometimes work with parents and students, and it's just like, yeah, I'm okay with them going to a college that's not far. And I mean, I look on the map and I'm like, okay, well, what? I don't see a measurement for not far. So really having these conversations so that we have a true understanding of what each other mean, because my not far and my parents not far, are two very different things. So start having these discussions now. Talk about potential careers, talk about different majors, get an understanding of what your parents do. I know that it took me a long time to even be able to really understand, like, what does my dad do as a technician? What does that mean? What do you do every day? Because it can help you make your decisions as to what you may want to do. Also, with your parents, ask students what they're truly happy in, because at the end of the day, they're the ones who are going to be living the life and going to classes, and they're going to be more successful if they're doing something that they enjoy doing. And so having these conversations, or beginning to have them now if you have not already, so that you have specifics, will make the decision process so much easier when the time comes, because as much as that list had on it, it only gets longer as you get closer and closer to your high school graduation date. With that being said, do you have any questions? And I'm going to also open it up to my colleagues to add anything that you feel should be on the sophomore checklist.
Well, we have a lot of questions in the chat.
Oh.
So I'm going to start by reading some of these questions off. Do activities outside of school like martial arts count as extracurricular?
Yes. Martial arts does count as something extracurricular. Anything outside of the classroom would count as an extracurricular activity, and it's also something that different colleges and universities would like to know about you. I used to do college admissions again, and I would read, and it's really giving a sense of who you are or what your interests are outside of the classroom, because we don't only want students that are good at academics. We want well-rounded students, and showing that you do things like martial arts is a great way to take part in extracurricular activities and also showcase who you are as a person. So yes, keep on doing that.
Thank you. The next question is, should students take a prep course for ACT and or SAT, or SAT and or ACT?
Yes, so anything that will help prepare you to do well on ACT or SAT is something that you should consider. However, there are some expensive courses out there. Khan Academy has a lot of great resources, Florida Shines, and also we can share some more with you on different ways to prepare for these tests, because there are sometimes, it can range in price, but if you can, take a prep course, whether it's free or cost money, because anything that will help set you up to do better on the test is beneficial.
Thank you. Along with starting to create a resume, is it recommended to start drafting a college essay, and what tips do you have to create a good one?
Sure. I actually very much enjoyed college essays because I had to read over 400 of them at a time to make actual admission decisions. But creating a recommendation to create a resume and a college essay, depending on the different institution that you're applying to, they may have certain prompts or questions that they would like you to answer in your essay. So you could draft it. Right now might be a little bit early to draft one because the questions do change each year. However, it is great to start preparing how to write an essay, because it is something that you're going to have to do. So anything that, again, helps you prepare or get more comfortable doing essays or college essays, I always recommend. To create good ones, I always say going to things like the Common Application to see some of the previous year's prompts gives you an idea of some of the questions that they might ask. And then you can use those to get some of that practice. So the Common App has their prompts that they also publish before the application season opens, so you have an idea and can get that done early. Also, with those essays and resumes, get them proofread. Give it to another friend, give it to your parents, give it to a teacher. Just making sure that they're proofread and read through is a great way to make sure that you're really putting your best self out there when you're applying to different colleges and universities as well.
Thank you. You've already answered the next question, which is there an SAT prep course that you recommend for sophomore students? The next question that we have is regarding students getting involved outside of their classes. Is it better for students to be involved with school student clubs, or is it just good to be involved with student clubs and initiatives in the community? And this is thinking about applying towards college.
So different colleges might have, again, it depends, but I would like to say that anything that shows one initiative is good. I don't think there's necessarily one that's better than the other, but showing that you are doing something outside of a school setting does show a little bit more, in my opinion, again, this is my opinion, initiative in doing things and finding ways to be involved. Also, that civic engagement piece or volunteering work or being involved in a community is also a great way or great thing to show, because outside of the school, what are you doing? So in my personal opinion, I think that it's great to not only be involved if things are offered through your school, but it really shows a great initiative to be involved in things outside of the school, especially as it relates to civic engagement or volunteering.
Thank you. The next question that we have is, are there services for ESE students for assistance with the ACT or SAT testing?
I'm sorry?
Are there services for ESE students for assistance with the ACT or SAT testing?
That one, I'm not certain off of the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure that if Sandy or Danica, are you aware of any? But I'm pretty sure we can find some specific resources or assistance.
I can chime in. This is nationally, but when you are registering to take the SAT or the ACT, you can request for accommodations. Each test has a different process as to how they go about it, but you can find the list of the accommodations that are available on both the ACT and the SAT. In terms of Pinellas County specifically, that I am not aware of.
I would check with your guidance counselor at the high school, because there may very well be some specialized test prep available, and we'll try to dig into that as well. We have not been asked that before. Good question.
That's a great question. Thanks for asking that.
We have gotten some comments that the SATpractice.org or Khan Academy is a great way to receive SAT test prep, because it connects to your PSAT test scores if you've taken them, and through that it generates practice questions to help you improve. Another comment about that. So there's another question. It says, this is from someone in Take Stock in Children. Would meeting with our coaches be beneficial when talking about college and what scholarships we should look for?
Yeah, so if you are working with any higher education professionals, I think it's always beneficial to talk about different colleges and scholarships, because they might be able to share resources that someone else might not know. Again, having, several heads or several resources might open more opportunities or share more information that one person might not know. Again, that's a great thing I think about also PATH is, like, if I don't know something, someone else, like one of the other PATH counselors or an intern might. So I would say that it would be a good idea to meet with your coaches when talking about college and scholarships, so they can share any other information or resources that they might be aware of that someone else might not. It doesn't hurt.
And then the next question that we have is, are extracurriculars that you did before high school still applicable to your college resume?
Some colleges and universities may look at the length of which you were, involved in certain activities. So it could be something that, let's say you were in like 4-H ever since you were in middle school. So showing the length of time that you were involved in a specific activity would be applicable to your college resume. If it was something where you maybe kind of danced while you were in elementary school through junior high school, you might not include that in your high school, in your resume for colleges when applying.
Thank you. That's all of the questions that we have in the chat so far. But if you all have additional questions, please feel free to ask them. I do want to mention that there were a few questions that were asked earlier that we did not address publicly, so I'm going to read off that list as well. So some of the questions that were asked is the partnership with SPC only for the University of South Florida St. Pete campus? Charlotte had put an answer in the chat, but I also wanted to make sure that this was an answer that was available to everyone. So PATH, which is Pinellas Access to Higher Education, is specifically for the USF St. Pete campus. However, there is a partnership with SPC to all of the all of the USF campuses, and that's called Fuse. So Fuse offers a 2+2 program, and it has designated majors that students can go into, and each campus will have a list of its individual majors. So if you are interested in 2+2 program, that's definitely a great resource or a great option. There are also other options, like I know that there is SPC has UCF Connects, which prepares students to go from SPC to University of Central Florida. There's also a program for students who are interested in going to Florida A&M University through SPC. So there are lots of 2+2 options through SPC. Another question is, do you know the best law universities and pre-med universities in the state of Florida? I think Charlene kind of mentioned a way that you can find some of that information out, which is going through the Florida Shines website. And then also just general research. I don't know that I can say, like, yes, a school may say that they're the best or they're the number one. Honestly, sometimes those numbers are arbitrary. It don't necessarily mean a lot. So I would suggest that you do your own research and kind of consider, when you are looking at schools that are offering law or pre-med, how many of their students are being placed into either the programs, or how many of those students are being employed after they graduate from college. Because there may be a school out there that's not as well known, but has a lot of connections, like Charlotte said earlier, and may be a better option for you in terms of ensuring that you will have somewhere to work or have a school to attend once you complete that program. Another question I was asked is, would you say that it is beneficial to look into internships before college to bulk up your college resume? So I do think it's beneficial to look into internships, but not necessarily to bulk up your college resume. So it's beneficial because as you are planning for college, a question that you may have already been getting or may get in the near future is, what do you want to do as an adult? What career do you want to have? What do you want to study? What do you want to major in? That can be a daunting question. And going into internships while you are in high school will give you the opportunity to kind of see what are the fields of work that are available to you, and kind of help you to narrow down or decide which ones are actually something that you would potentially go into or not. Yes, it does add to your college resume, but doing it for your own, enjoyment or, own self-discovery is probably more important than just to be able to say that you can put it on a list. And then, let's see, I think there was one more. The next one is, does USF St. Pete offer all the same classes at the Tampa campus? So in terms of general education classes, they will be the same. There are some majors that are across the different campuses, like business is a very common major. So those classes will be the same, but each campus will have some unique majors. And so when you get into the specific majors that are offered at the different campuses, they may not have classes that are available at all three campuses. And then I know that there are some more questions that are popping up in the chat. I am so happy to see all these questions. You guys are keeping us busy.
I see that it says, do you have any advice to balance college school life with other things in life? Danica, do you want to take this, or Sandy or Charlotte?
Sure. Actually, let's have Charlotte, since she is a current college
she's
student.
doing this right now.
Yeah, so it's kind of different for everyone, but I would say one of the biggest things is to just know what your limits are and what you need. So for example, it's important to know, like, oh, can I handle this many hours in a part-time job or something like that, and just understand what works for you and what doesn't work for you. But for more concrete advice, I would say be organized. That's the number one thing. Like at the start of each semester, I write down every assignment that's due each week, and I sort of have it as a master list, and I check it off while I go. Another important thing to keep in mind too is that you can always do college part-time. Like if you have the financial need that you have to be working full-time, consider doing college part-time as well. Besides that, yeah, just keep in touch with your emotions as well. Don't treat yourself like a machine. Ask yourself, am I handling everything well, or are things kind of like falling apart? So just be honest with yourself and be organized is what I would say.
Thank you, Charlotte.
Great advice. I'll take the next one.
Okay.
Will kids that have a 504 plan follow them to college? The student has a 3.2 GPA and has a 504 plan due to ADD, and she is in AP classes, which is which is doing very good in the classes, and the AP classes transfer. Will the AP classes transfer to the college with the student? Okay. Yes, AP class credit is determined by the final grade on that final exam. And if credit is earned, it certainly will transfer to the university or college that she decides to go to. As far as the 504 plan, the higher institution will have an accessibility services office. So no, it will not automatically carry over. They will need to register with that office and more than likely need to obtain a copy of that 504 plan from their high school. And then any accommodations that are required or necessary, any tools that are needed to make sure that that student continues successfully will be offered at the higher education institution as well. But just know that it doesn't happen automatically. You will need to register and then just bring in whatever paperwork is needed to continue those services.
And all universities and colleges have an Office of Disability Services or Success Services. They may have a different name, but there's an office at every school.
Okay, I will read the next one and you can decide who wants to jump in. Is getting an associate's degree and then a bachelor's degree more beneficial, or is going straight into a bachelor's degree better, or are they equal? It's a great question.
So I would say that I can't give you a yes or no answer to that because it applies differently to different people, especially in terms of what you want to do. So I would say that if you're planning to get an associate's degree and then transition to a bachelor's degree, there is a cost saving that will happen there because a community college or a state college will always be cheaper, always be cheaper than a university or a four-year degree college. So I think that's one of the benefits. I also think it depends on what you're looking to get out of the experience. So if the goal is solely, I want to get a degree, don't necessarily care about, the quintessential college experience. I don't necessarily think that you have to go straight into a bachelor's degree to get that. But yeah, there's different answers. You want to go to med school. So what is most ideal? You can still start with an associate's degree and go get a bachelor's degree, and no university that will be looking at you for med school will look at you any differently. I know people who've gone and gotten their associate's degree first and then gotten their bachelor's degree, and they're able to say, I have 2 degrees under my belt. Like I've done this at more than one institution. So yeah, there's no one is better than the other.
I agree. Very personal choice.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was our last question.
That was.
Awesome. If you could please, and Sandy had just shared the survey for today's workshop. If you could please take a moment and give us some feedback so that way we can continue to provide you with things that you want and or need. And then also, if you were taking this for extra credit, make sure you complete that survey and put in there as well that you were doing so we can make sure you get the credit. But thank you once more for joining us this evening and learning a little bit more about how you can use the most of your sophomore year and getting ready for life after high school. But again, thank you. Survey is inside of the chat. And then if you have any questions, we're going to be here a little bit longer. But you are free to go and have a...
Oh, wait, I also want to plug some things, Charlene. We have things to plug.
Sorry.
Yeah. So
Well, yeah.
in addition to our workshop today, we also do Planning Your Path, which takes place every Thursday from now through April. So if you would like to have your questions answered in a smaller group setting, more intimate setting, that's also available. And I'll add that link into the chat as well. Again, follow us on Instagram. We post a lot of information through our lovely intern Charlotte about college myths. There will be some posts about scholarship information. There are posts around how do you plan for college or prepare for college at each grade level. And then also, if you're interested in talking with us individually, meaning one-on-one, that is also an option. And I'm also going to post in the chat how you can do that as well.
Yeah, I just want to add as well. First of all, kudos for everyone who attended tonight. A lot of families or students at the sophomore level aren't even thinking about this yet. And I'm sure you've all seen that there's a lot involved with planning for your higher education. And the sooner you start thinking about it, you start having those conversations, the easier that transition is going to be once you're a senior in high school. Your senior year is going to be really busy. So anything that you can get done ahead of time is going to be really beneficial. And that's why we do what we do. We are available, as Danica said, if you just want to meet with us. We're basically college consultants, though we are very closely attached to SPC and USF. That is not all that we're here for. If you want to go to Yale, if you want to go to Harvard, if you want to go to UCF, we just want to help students meet the goals that they've set for themselves. So again, Danica, I think, has posted a lot of ways to get in touch with us. You'll all be getting an email with a link to tonight's workshop. And please keep an eye out for future PATH programs. We will continue to offer programs at every grade level. And also the Plan Your PATH sessions are open for everyone as well.
And there's one more thing. We are excited to announce that, I know I'm very jittery and happy, but something that's very cool about the PATH program is that we will be offering Discover Your PATH, which will be a virtual session this summer. So it'll be about 3 days long, and we'll go into the nitty gritty of planning for college. So it's available to rising juniors and seniors, and as sophomores, you would be eligible to register. So as we get that information available, we will definitely provide that out to you all if you're interested in participating. It is free, it is virtual, and it will be amazing.
Absolutely. And you'll be able to talk a lot more with students like Charlotte, who can give you their actual just one-on-one experience of what college life is like, and through the eyes of a college student. All right, so thank you again. Everyone is free to go. If you want to stick around and unmute yourself, if you have any questions, we'll hang out for a few minutes to do that. But otherwise, again, just thank you very much for coming tonight.
And we will email the information on how to request meetings, and then also the different workshops and events coming up that we just shared.
And a copy of this video.
Yes, and a copy of this video.
Awesome. I see some familiar names. Okay, I am going to turn the recording on.
As you do that, I just want to give kudos to Charlotte, because you deserve your flowers. You are amazing. You are a better presenter than I am.
That's so sweet. Thank you so much. I definitely was very nervous.
Amaze me all the time. Amaze me all the time. Mind blown, Charlotte.
That's so
you are definitely in the right field, because your passion shows through your work, and it's awesome. I'm proud of you.
Thank you so much. That's so sweet.
I agree. I think you're heading in the right direction.
It's funny, when I go to present, it's almost like I kind of forget that I'm presenting, and it's just like, I don't know, but it turned out pretty good. So
it's just a conversation. You're just sharing valuable information with people who want to hear it. So it's great. And coming from someone who is currently in the college student experience makes it even more valuable.
Well, and it was funny because the one question about the accounting program, I had actually considered as USF's accounting program. So that's how I knew about like the internship with Raymond James and everything. So yeah.
That's cool.
Yep. Didn't even need coaching in that. You answered that really well.
Thank you.
Anybody in the audience have any questions? If you want to unmute yourself, this is just casual chat time.